If you want to be successful in reselling, you have to understand how to comp items and how to do product research. Understanding how much demand there is for a particular item and how much profit you stand to make when you purchase that item is key to a reselling business. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I make buying decisions when I'm outsourcing for items. Now, what I'm going to show you is just the baseline. As you grow as a reseller, you're going to learn a lot more nuances and different ways to search for items, especially the different kind of items that you might be picking up compared to what I am picking up. However, this is a good baseline, and this is going to give you a good idea of how to determine if an item is actually worth picking up and listing and reselling inside your store, or if it's an item you should just leave behind and let someone else deal with it. But instead of just talking about it, I decided to grab a few items today, and we're just going to go over them and break them down exactly how I would if I was outsourcing. So the first one we're going to do is this Scarface game here for the PS2. Now, let's just assume that I'm out at a yard sale and this is sitting on the table for $5, and I know absolutely nothing about video games. So the very first thing I'm going to do is open up the eBay app, and at the top, there's a camera icon. I'm going to click on that camera icon, and then it's going to show image or barcode. I want barcode, so I'm going to click on barcode, and I'm simply going to scan the barcode on the back of this game. Now, this works for this video game because it has a barcode, but this works for anything that has a barcode. This is one of the simplest ways to look items up. Find things with barcodes and scan them. So it's going to pull up all of the active listings. So there's 139 of these active on the eBay platform. But I'm not too concerned about the active listings right now. So what I'm going to do is filter. The first thing I'm going to always do is the condition filter, because this actually matters, whether it's a new item or a used item. I mostly deal in used items, so I'm always going to click used. So there's 122 of these items listed. Now, me personally, what I want to see when I'm looking at the solds is at least 50%. So if there's 120 items listed, I want to see at least 60 items sold for me to start considering it. Now, this isn't like some kind of perfect science, and it doesn't mean that if there's 50 sold that I'm not going to pick it up. It just means that this is the baseline. So if there's 10 listed and only one sold, that's probably not an item I'm going to pick up. But if there's 100 listed and let's say there's 45 sold, I'm still going to pick it up even though it's less than 50. It's going to kind of just depend on how much money I'm spending and what the item is, how easy it is to list, and if I think I can undercut the competition on price or if my item is in better condition. There's a lot of different nuances that go on with this, but just as a general rule, I'm always looking to be around that 50% mark. So we have 122 of these listed, and then I'm going to scroll down here. This is on the filters tab. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on sold. And it's going to bring up all of the sold items. These are items that have sold in the last 90 days. There's 675 of them sold. So this is almost enough right here for me to just be like, this item is going home with me. But I'm going to take a quick look and see what the prices are. I see 59, 49, 43, 56. Now, I'm not even going to dig deeper here. I'm not going to say, oh, well, does mine have the manual? Does mine have the case? Does mine have this, that? I have seen enough to know that $5 into around $50 with a huge amount selling compared to the amount listed, this is an easy pickup for me. But if you were still unsure or if you wanted to know how much profit you were going to make, I highly recommend using the eBay calculator. And that you can pull up on your phone, but I'm going to pull it up on the desktop here. And you're simply going to put in the sold price. So in this case, we sell it for $50. I'm going to put $6 for shipping. That's about what it costs to ship a video game. We paid $5. Shipping cost is $6. So we're just charging exactly what it costs to ship. And this is just to give us a general idea. I'm not trying to break it down to the exact penny. I just want to make sure I'm profitable. I'm going to say that I'm going to promote this listing at 2%. I'm going to say that I'm selling it with an average sales tax of 7.5%. And down here at the bottom, you can see how much I paid in eBay fees, and you can see how much profit I stand to make, $35.21. But what the cool thing about this is you can also change it and say, well, what if they were asking $20 for this video game? Is it still worth picking up? Well, I could turn 20 into $20 more. I would probably still pick this game up at $20, especially given the fact that it's in such high demand. Now, I personally don't always look up and see how much profit I'm going to make. I've been doing this for long enough that I don't actually have to dig in and go through the eBay calculator every single time. I know that I want to always make at least $10 if I'm spending up to $15. I'm okay spending $15 to make 10. I'm not okay spending $20 to make 10. I'm not okay spending $100 to make 10. You're going to have to come up with these rules for yourself. But for me, I know all of my prices. So at $1, I need to be around $15 sold, and around $5, I need to be around $20 sold. So this kind of just gives me a good idea when I'm out at yard sales or thrift stores that if I see something marked for $5, does it sell for more than 20? And if it does, then I know I'm going to make at least $10 profit, and I'm okay picking that item up. I did make a video breaking that down here if you want more information on that, but in general, I don't spend a ton of time actually looking it up unless I'm going to spend a lot of money. If I'm trying to analyze a deal and maybe the person wants $500-$600 for something, I might pop into the eBay fee calculator and say, okay, well, I'm expecting to make, $1,000 and I'm spending $500. How much is my actual profit on that transaction? And then I have to kind of weigh the pros and cons of that. So the video game was pretty simple because all you had to do was scan the barcode. But let's say we have something a little bit more difficult, like a piece of clothing. So let's assume I found this Patagonia fleece jacket out at a yard sale and it was for $20. Now this might get left at the thrift store if it's marked up to $20 because some people would say, I'm not paying $20. I only pay $5 for sweatshirts or whatever. But this is a Patagonia sweatshirt, so I want to look it up and see if it's worth reselling at $20. Now there's a few different ways we can go about this. If you knew nothing about this sweatshirt and there was nothing on there to tell you anything, you might simply go in and type in Patagonia fleece, and this is a hoodie, so we'll type in hoodie, fleece hoodie, and when you might look that way, there's many different ways to do this. So then you can go in and change it to pre-owned, and there's 6,200 of these listed pre-owned, and you might just want to get a feel for the market. So 6,200 listed, 2,200 sold. Now, like I said, I'm looking for that 50%, but honestly, 2,200 of them sold in the last 90 days. That means a lot of them are selling every single day. So I still might pick this up, but we haven't really narrowed down which one it is. Mine kind of looks like this one right here, but I don't know. So I'm going to keep looking and see if I see anything that looks like mine. This one kind of looks like the one I have in my hand. Another thing that you can do, and often makes a difference, especially in clothing, is search by the different colors or even the size. So narrowing it down to the size or narrowing it down to the color can really make a difference. But there's two other ways that you can figure this out. One of my favorite ways is just by using Google Image. Simply go on to Google, open up the camera icon on the Google search, and scan it. Now, it's going to pull up a bunch of different items, and you're going to have to figure out whether you have the correct item standing in front of you or if it's just something random. And personally, I'll never run comps off of Google because Google's going to pull up a bunch of different random things. I'm just using Google to see if I can maybe find some keywords to know. So when I ran the Google search on this, it actually told me it's an R1 jacket. And you can also tell that because it has R1 on the sleeve, but that's besides the point. Maybe you didn't notice that. So now Google is telling me that this is an R1 jacket. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into here and we're going to search it that way. So we'll go back in here and we'll do Patagonia R1, and it's a hoodie. So we'll do Patagonia R1 hoodie. And once again, I always want to look at the pre-owns because I don't have a new item here. And there's 294 of these listed. 294 listed. 490 of them sold. So once again, this is an amazing item that's selling really well. So if I saw that, this is going home with me. But you have to look at the price here. You have $90, $85, $75, $32, but it says read, so there's probably some kind of issues with that. $99. Now I've seen enough. I don't have to sit here all day and say, well, my size is this and my color is this color. I'm not trying to get into all the different little nuances here. I see enough here to know that this item is well worth picking up. Now you might be thinking, okay, you say it's worth picking up, but how much money are you actually going to make if you're spending 20 and it's going to sell for, let's just say 80. I always like to aim low. When I'm looking at comps, I'm never going to assume that I'm going to get that $100 comp. I'm going to assume that I'm going to have to take an offer and maybe it's going to sell for a little bit less. So we can run that through the eBay fee calculator again. The sold price is $80. Shipping charge, we'll say $10. item cost 20, shipping cost was 10, 2% promoted ad, 7.5% sales tax, and I stand to make $44.50. Now, to be honest, $80 is actually kind of low on this jacket. I would probably get closer to that $100 mark, but let's just assume that I do take an offer and it sells for $80. I'm okay spending $20 to make $44. That's a good return on my investment. But you have to decide that for yourself. Maybe you're not okay with those margins. Maybe you want bigger margins. But this is a good way to go in and actually see if this item is worth picking up. Now, it's worth noting that there's a ton of different ways to do the product research and to figure out if an item is worth picking up. So for a Patagonia jacket, if you looked it up on the Google image search and you still couldn't find it, Patagonia has on their tags, they'll actually put the style code right on the tag. It's usually under STY, and then it's the few numbers after that. So if you go into Google and you type in Patagonia with those few numbers, this one is 40073, and you hit enter, it's going to pull up Patagonia's worn wear collection, and it's going to show you the exact model that you're holding in your hands, which according to Patagonia is the R1 hoodie, which we determined from the search through Google, but this is just another way to do it. And it's worth noting because different brands do different things. Lululemon, they'll always have a style code somewhere hidden inside the clothing. A lot of times in pants, it's in the back pocket. Sometimes in bras, it's inside like a little pocket near the padding. You just have to kind of learn the different brands. Cool, like Cool Pants, those ones, they usually have the whole model name right inside on the pocket. And if you didn't know that, you might just list them as Cool Pants, but there's different styles of Cool Pants, and the different styles are worth different amounts of money. So the more narrow focus you can get it, the better it is, especially when you're listing. Now, in general, when I'm out sourcing, I'm not as particular with figuring out the exact model and figuring out the exact name, because a lot of times when you search for things like that, you're going to get all kinds of weird listings anyway. And this brings me to a comment that I received recently where someone said that it's not worth doing sell-through rate because eBay pulls a bunch of different items and you can't actually get a feel for the market. And that's true. When you search on the eBay search, it's pulling similar items. It's not pulling all the same items. So if you type in Patagonia R1 jacket, it's going to pull the R1 jackets, but it might also pull in some Patagonia jackets that aren't R1, or it might pull in a North Face jacket that has R1 somewhere in it. So it doesn't pull in exactly what you have in your hands. So that's why I don't like to go too narrow. But if you do want to narrow it down, and sometimes what I end up running into is I search for a particular item and it pulls up multiple brands of that item. And even though I'm putting the brand in the title, it's still pulling up, let's say I'm searching for that Patagonia, but it's still pulling up North Face. I go into the filter settings and I go to the brands and I click on the Patagonia. And then that way it's only pulling up the Patagonia. You can do this with the categories as well too, which is another common issue I run into with shoes. If I have a pair of Hoka men's Clifton's 10s that I'm trying to list, when I search for that, it's going to pull up a bunch of women's shoes too. Even though I put men's in it, for some reason, it will still pull it up. So what I like to do is go into the category and make sure that I select just men's. And that way it's pulling up just the men's category. Now, I've gone into some further details and some further steps that you can do in this video here. But some of the other things that you can add are quotations around the title or around particular parts of the title. So if you only wanted to see men's jackets, you could type in Patagonia men's and put the men's in quotes, jackets. And what this does is it makes it so that that search will only show you listings with the word men's in it. But this is also a problem, and you have to kind of weigh the pros and cons, because if you're searching for things that only have the word men's in it, there might be people that are listing this jacket and don't even put that in the title. So it's only going to pull that information if it's in the title. But sometimes that helps me with some more product research by just narrowing it down. You can also eliminate words by putting a minus sign in front of whatever you're doing. So if you wanted to see all the different colors of the Patagonia jacket except for the red one, you could put minus red, and it won't pull any that are red. But once again, this is assuming that they put red in the title. So you might still see a red jacket if they didn't put red in the title. So another thing you could do is go into the filters and select the different colors that you want to see. There's multiple different ways to figure this out. But in general, what I like to do is kind of start really big. So I might just type in Patagonia jacket and get a feel for the overall market of the Patagonia jacket. And if I see that this jacket is only $1 at a yard sale and I'm not seeing any sold for less than $20, that's all the information I need to know. I see that there's a demand for it and I see that it's selling for more than whatever the person's asking. That's enough information for me, and I'll figure out the exact model and the color and the size and stuff later when I get home. All those other little factors come in when you're really getting down and you're really trying to make a deal work. Maybe that jacket is $20 and you really want to make sure that that $20 is going to cover the cost. Then that's when the size makes a difference, the color makes a difference, the model makes a difference. That's when you want to get a little bit more particular. But if you're just picking up dollar items here and there, it's better to just stay really wide, especially if you have the margins for it. The final tool that I didn't touch on, and I'm going to touch on in a future video, is the product research tool. So this is a tool where you can look at things that have sold in the past 3 years. When you're doing the search just by looking at sold and actives, it's just the last 90 days. So if you're looking up a pair of shorts right now, there's probably not a whole lot of data for short selling. So that's where product research really comes in handy, because you're able to go back and look at listings for 3 years. But the product research search function is completely different than the eBay search function. Simply put, the product research is pulling exact and the eBay search is pulling similar items. So you have to be a little bit more nuanced when you're searching on product research. But if you're not, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video in the future. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you're going to love this one. So go ahead and give it a click.